Hey guys, hello. This is the English version of the video in which I show how to correct shapes and colors of stars in astrophotography using GIMP. This is the photography of the Andromeda galaxy, Messier 31, which was taken by Sebastianus, one of the users of the Astropolis forum. Sebastianus uploaded his version of this image and he asked other users he uploaded also the TIFF, the stack of this photograph, unprocessed stack in TIFF, and he asked other users if they could also process this stack, because Sebastianus had issues with multicolored stars, mostly in the corners of the image. So I decided to show how I do it, how I correct the shapes and colors of stars in GIMP. So anyway, this is the unprocessed, unstretched stack. The first stage I will do is I will make the photometric color calibration. So let's choose this option from the menu. Here I will enter M31. Let's find this object. Here I have to enter the parameters of the imaging system which was used by the user who was called Sebastianus. So this is the focal length, the pixel size. I think it should be 76 instead of 78. Let's see if the plate solving will be completed. Yes, photometric color calibration in progress. Okay. So we have to wait a little bit. Okay, there we have it. So this is the image after color calibration, photometric color calibration, and you can see that the stars are in the corners are a little bit elongated, and also their colors are not as good as they could be. But this will look better in a minute. We can also see that there is a gradient here. Gradient or gradient, how do you say it in English? Gradient, maybe gradient. So anyway, the lower left corner is darker and the upper right corner is brighter a little bit. So I'm not using the background extraction in Siril, because most of the time I'm getting strange results, like colorful spots all around the image. It doesn't look well. So most of the time, if I have to deal with gradients in my photos, I usually deal with them in GIMP, because this gives me more control over what I am doing. So at the moment, I'm not correcting the gradient in Siril. I will just stretch the image, because right now what we are looking at is just color calibrated stack, but it is not stretched yet. It's just the preview, auto stretch mode of the preview. If I switch the preview to linear mode, then we will see that the whole image is quite dark. And we can see even better that the star colors are strange. They are not uniform. So the first stage is I will just do a normal histogram transformation. I will just stretch it just a bit. So I will stretch the image only to the extent which will make the star colors look more natural than without any stretch. If I reset, you see the colors of the stars need to be stretched to look more natural, but I don't want to overdo the first initial stretch, because the more I stretch using the histogram, the less saturation the stars and the whole image will have. So I'm only doing the first stretch using the histogram transformation, then I click apply. And then the next stage is to make the assign transformation. Assign or arcsine. I'm not sure what the exact mathematical name for this is. Assign transformation. So what I will do, I will use this transformation to stretch the image, but this type of stretch retains the saturation. So if this is much too much. Wait, let's make it like 11 maybe. 11. Okay. And I will also raise the black point. Okay, and now I think it looks better. As you can see, the image is brighter, but the colors of the stars are not washed out. The saturation is kept as it was. And this is the goal of this type of stretch. Okay, so right now I click apply. And I can make another small histogram transformation stretch, just to make the galaxy pop out a little bit more. And we make a little bit darker. Maybe a little bit more. How are the stars doing? It's okay, all right. Okay, so I click apply. I close the histogram transformation window. And now I will save the image as a TIFF file. I name it autosave 001-stretch. But because I will use Starnet standalone version of Starnet to remove the stars, I will save the image as TIFF, but it has to be 16-bit TIFF. Saving TIFF, 16 bits, save. Okay, so the image is safe, and this is me using OBS to record this session. Okay, and I'm opening Starnet. My computer is working a little bit slower because of the OBS. Oh, okay. Okay, and now we have to find autosave stretch. And as the name of the output file, I usually add no stars. The name of the file -no stars. And this is the version, the starless version. Okay, run. Okay, so Starnet has done its job. The output starless image is complete. And now I can downloads, autosave, stretch and stretch no stars. Okay, I can open it in GIMP. I can open both images in GIMP. To start the main part of the processing. Okay, so here we are in GIMP. Let's press File, Open as Layers. And now I have to find Downloads, Autosave, Autosave Stretch, and Autosave Stretch No Stars. I'm opening these two files as layers. Okay. And the first stage, the first step, will be to make a layer, a new layer, only with stars. Here we have the starless image. Here we have the image with stars. The stars which have issues with the colors. As you can see, here is a pinkish halo. The colors are definitely not aligned to each other, and the stars are a little bit elongated. So I will correct it. So the first step is to make the image of the stars only. So to do this, we have to the order of the layers should be that the starless layer is on top of the layer with the stars. So the starless layer is on top, and the mode of mixing the layers, not sure, the mode, I think it's mixing, not sure what is the English word, but anyway, the mode in which the layer is should be subtract. And the outcome of the subtract process is shown. To make it a new layer, we need to click right mouse button and choose New from Visible. And now we have a new layer which contains only stars. I can name it stars and change the mixing mode. What is the English word for this? Not mixing? Okay, maybe I will think about it in the meantime. Maybe I will remember the proper word for this. But anyway, so we have the layer with stars, only stars. And now to correct the issues with the multicolored stars, I have to decompose this layer into 3 separate colors. So I press right mouse button, I choose colors, I choose components and decompose. Decompose to RGB. Decompose to RGB, and now we can see why there are issues with these wrong colors, with these multicolored stars. If we switch the preview, the zoom of the image to 400%, we can see that this is the original image of stars, and here is the version, voila, here is the version which is separated. 3 colors in separate layers. If I switch off the red layer, you can see that the location of the red color is slightly different than the location of the green and blue colors. Red component is a little bit farther away from the center of the image, and the blue and the green channels are almost exactly in the same place. We have also this strange blue flare in the blue channel. The green channel looks best. But anyway, what is causing most trouble is the red channel. And this is exactly when we switch to the color version, you can see that this displacement of the red channel is the reason of these purplish fringes, because the red channel is not aligned, the stars in the red channel are not aligned with the stars in the green and the blue channel. This is the reason why the stars look multicolored. Multicolored, okay. All right, so to correct this, we need somehow to move the red channel a little bit closer to the center. And to do this, I just will change the scale. I will resample the layer with the red channel. But first, I need to duplicate this layer. I will show you in a minute why am I doing this. So the copy of the red channel, I will simply change the size of it. So I click layer, I click scale layer, and here is the original size, and I can enter like 3006 pixels. So the layer becomes slightly smaller. But it happens that after this resampling, the stars, the red part of the stars, is exactly in the becomes the location of these stars in the red channel becomes exactly the same as the position, the location in the red, in the green and the blue channels. So this is exactly what we want to achieve. We want to align all these channels into one place, all these stars into one place. So after resizing this copy of the red channel, we achieve this. The stars are in the location where they should be. So what I should do next is just to recompose the layers, the colors into color image, back into color image. But at the moment I can't do this because the copy of the red layer is a little bit smaller than the green and the blue layers. So GIMP will not combine them correctly. What I have to do is, and this is the reason why I needed the copy of the red channel, what I will do now is I will just merge down, right mouse button, and merge down the red copy and the original red layers, merge them down to make the size the right size again. So the size of the layer becomes the size of the original layer, but the stars are in proper locations, let's say. Okay, so now when we have the correct positions of the stars and the correct size of the whole layer, I can click right mouse button, I can choose colors, components, compose again, and the red channel is the red layer, the green channel is the green layer, and the blue channel is the blue layer. I click OK. And now the first step of the correction, the first stage, is complete. Because as you can see, the purple fringes around the stars disappeared in the corners. We can compare the before and after effect. Here is the original layer with stars, with the purple fringes and slightly elongated stars. And here is the corrected version. As you can see, the purple fringes disappeared almost completely, and the shape of the stars also improved. So I will save this just in case. RGB compose. Where was it? In downloads. Yes, it was in downloads. Name, autosave. Okay, RGB compose. Okay, so the first stage of the correction is complete. But as you can see, I will show it. Oh, there is this greenish tint in centers of the stars, and I will also correct this tint. To do this, I will use the equivalent of Hasta La Vista green process, which was available and still is, I think, in Photoshop. Hasta La Vista green in Photoshop. I believe it is called SCNR in Pix Insight. It's just simple mathematic operation which brings the excess green to the levels of either red or blue, depending on which one is higher. I will make a separate video, a whole separate video about the methodology of making this Hasta La Vista green process in GIMP. But right now I will just make this process without any more explanations. I will just show you how to do it. So to remove the excess green, I will make it like this. I click right mouse button, I choose colors, components, decompose again, decompose into RGB, decompose into RGB, and now I switch off the green layer, and the mixing mode of the red layer I set to lighten only. Then I click New from Visible. I can make the mixing mode, set the mixing mode to normal again. And then I take the green layer, I move it on top of all layers, and I set mixing mode of the green layer to darken only. And then I click New from Visible. And this will make a new green layer. Actually, I can name it New Green. A little bit too much E. New Green. This is a new green layer which doesn't have the excess green. Okay, so I can delete the original green layer. I can also delete this layer. So now I can recompose, I can compose the color image again of the red, new green and blue layers. So right mouse button, colors, components, compose. But wait, I will, just to avoid confusion, I will close the file with the layers with colors, which was created previously. Okay, again. Components, compose, RGB, red, new green and blue. Okay. All right. So we have a new image, and as you can see, if we can compare it with the previous one, this is the old version with the greenish tint in the centers of the stars, and this is a new version where the greenish tint is disappeared. So the centers of the stars are either gray or have other color, but they are not green anymore. Okay, so this was the this is actually the second step, but of the correction of the colors. We removed the green tint, but we also want to remove the purplish pink tint the fringes, the purplish fringes around stars caused by chromatic aberration. And to do this, I will use exactly the same process, Hasta La Vista green equivalent, but I will do it on the invert version of this color image. Invert because the opposite of the purple, the pink color, is green. So if I press colors and press invert, the purple fringes will become green. And we already know how to remove the excess green. So I will do exactly the same process as I did before. So on the inverted version, I click right mouse button, I choose colors, components, decompose. Decompose or decompose? I think decompose. Decompose to layers. Okay. Decomposing. Decompose to layers, and now I will make exactly the same process as I did before, namely the mixing mode for the red layer I will set to lighten only, right mouse button, new from visible, I will set the mixing mode to normal again, then I'll take the green layer, move it on top, set the mixing mode to darken only, make this green layer visible again, and then click new from visible and name it new green. Okay, I can delete this layer, I can delete this layer, move it, the new green layer in the middle, and then I click colors, components, compose. Aha, wait, again. To avoid confusion, first I will close, yes, this one. I will close the one with other 3 layers. And now I will do it again, compose. So the red is red, the green channel is the new green, and blue is blue. Click OK. Alright, so we have new image. And if I choose colors invert again, I will have normal colors, and as you can see, the purple fringes are mostly gone. And this is exactly what we wanted to achieve. So now we have pretty much, it's not finished yet, but the colors of the stars and the shapes of the stars are now mostly corrected. What I can do next? First I will save this. Wait, let me close. I didn't speak English for a long time. This is the reason why I'm not so fluent. I hope you will not get... I hope my talking will not be too much boring for you, because I'm speaking very slowly. In the future videos, I think this will improve, but at the moment, yeah, well, I'm not a native English speaker, and I'm pretty sure you can hear it very clearly. But anyway, okay, so we have, I wanted to save this, so let's save RGB compose. Downloads, autosave, RGB compose, replace it. Up. Okay, so now what I can do next is to make the stars smaller a little bit, to shrink them, and also to raise the saturation a little bit. So first thing which I will do is to duplicate the layer, and on the duplicated layer I will use select by color tool. So I click this select by color, I click options for this tool, and I will choose a star which is quite large, quite bright. If I choose the star, click the left mouse button and move the cursor and move the mouse with the left mouse button pressed. If I move the mouse to the right hand side, you can see that the pinkish areas are growing. This is the indication of the size of the selection, which will be made using this select by color tool. So let's say this size is okay. And now we have the marching ants around the selected stars. I need to grow this selection. So let's say I will grow it about 6 pixels maybe. Yes, I think 6 pixels will be okay. The size of the selection should be bigger than the size of the halos around the stars. This will give best results. So the stars are now selected, but the selection is not feathered yet. So what I will do is I choose select, feather, and let's feather, let's say also for 6 pixels. Okay. And now I will choose filters, distorts, and value propagate. Value propagate, which has the first two options are either larger, more white, which makes the stars brighter, or more black. And this is what we want to achieve. We want to make the stars smaller, darker. So we choose more black. And here the propagating rate, this slider sets the amount of the filter. 0 value is no filter at all. 1 value is the maximum power of the filter. I usually choose something in the middle. So let's say 0.5, or maybe a little bit smaller. Okay, I think this should be okay. So I press OK. I choose select none. And we have the stars, we made the stars smaller. We can compare them with the original version by clicking this eye icon to turn off the duplicated layer. So these are the stars on the original image, the original version of the stars, and these are the corrected stars. As you can see, they are darker and they are smaller, and this is what we wanted to achieve. This is the original version, and this is the corrected version. So this was the first step of the correction, making the stars smaller, and the second step would be to increase the saturation of the stars. And to do this, I make another copy of this layer, of the corrected layer with the smaller stars. And I can make another copy just in case. Duplicate layer. Okay, so the lower layer, I will use filters, blur, Gaussian blur, to blur this image a little bit, let's say like 2. Not more, just 2, maybe 1.5, maybe 2.5, but let's stick to 2. So after blurring, the differences in colors, in stars, are, well, blurred. So they are not as prominent, I think. Not sure if this is the correct English word. So anyway, after blurring, the stars became more uniform, and now we can easily increase the saturation without making the remaining errors in colors more visible. So basically I will just raise the saturation. So I click right mouse button, colors, saturation, and let's raise the saturation, but you should check if you don't raise the saturation too much. I think it's okay. Yes, we have pretty star colors. We have pretty colors of the stars. Okay. So I raised the saturation on the lower layer, and the mixing mode of the upper layer I will set to luminance, which will result how to say, the outcome of this mixing is that the shapes and sizes of the stars, of the sharp stars, are taken from the top layer, and the color is taken from the layer with increased saturation but with blurred stars. In this way we can achieve the best mixing of color and size of stars, let's say so. I can also blur this upper layer a little bit, filters, blur, Gaussian blur, but only really not much, like 0.5. Oh, just to blur them a little bit. And now I can press new from visible. So this is our final layer with corrected stars, with improved saturation, corrected shapes. Everything is quite pretty. All right, so I can save it just in case. And now what remains is to select all, choose edit, copy, and switch back to our original image with the Andromeda Galaxy, with the Andromeda Galaxy. So back in this file, I can choose edit, paste as, new layer. And here is the new layer with corrected stars. Let's see the corner. If we compare, this is the new layer with improved saturation and corrected star colors. And this is the old layer with all the issues with stars. So as you can see, the improvement is quite dramatic, I would say. And also the improvement in the saturation of stars, I hope, yes, it's clearly visible. Not only the shapes of stars in the whole image are corrected, but also the saturation and the overall look of the stars is improved. Yeah. Okay, so I can turn off the layer with original stars. And now what remains is just to add, I think. To add the new layer, the layer with new version of stars, add it to the starless layer. So let's set the mixing mode to addition. And this is it. This is the image with new stars and the galaxy. What remains is I first save it just in case, auto stretch. New stars, let's say, just to make another copy of this file. What I can do is to stretch this galaxy a little bit and to show you how I correct gradients in GIMP. So I can make another copy this is what always should be done. Work on a duplicate of a layer, because of course you can always undo an action, but if you have a copy, the undoing process is unnecessary. You can just switch back to the previous version. So let's stretch this galaxy a little bit. Hola. Colors, levels. You know what? I can make another thing, because maybe you can see that there is this black border and some stacking artifacts on the edges of the image. So before I will proceed, I can cut them off, I can crop them out. So I will make a rectangular selection. Hit enter and choose image, crop to selection. Okay, and now the image is more clean, the edges of the image are more clean. So I choose select, none, to remove the selection. And now I can stretch this layer a little bit, maybe also improve the saturation, but let's stretch it first. So let's move the black slider to the right, let's move the middle slider to the left. I want to stretch the galaxy to the extent which will make the gradient visible. Colors, levels, let's make it darker again. Okay, I think this will be enough. If I choose the color picker tool and measure the brightness of the background in the corners, I will get to measure the brightness is I need to press and hold the shift key. So with the shift key pressed, if you press the left mouse button, you get the reading of the brightness of the area over which you have the cursor. So the lower left corner is about 9% brightness, and the upper right corner is about 12%. So there is a slight gradient. What I can do to correct this, of course I will make a duplicate of the layer just in case. What I can make is to subtract the background, but first I have to make a model of the background, of the gradient. To do this, I choose the color picker tool. I set one color as foreground and the second color here as background. Well, actually they are, okay, one is as foreground, the second is as background. And now I will make the model of the background. So I will choose new layer. I will make new layer. The fill width can be foreground color. It doesn't matter at the moment. And I have to fill this layer with a gradient. With a gradient, with foreground and background, with the colors which are present in the corners. So this is, yes, the darker one, the darker color is in the lower left corner and the brighter color is in the upper right corner. So this is what I want to achieve. Hit enter. And I have the model of the background. What I need to do next is just to subtract this modeled background from the original image, but if I will subtract it, actually we will see what will happen. Not difference, but I need subtract. Oh. The outcome is that, you see, we have black background, and we don't want to have black background. If I measure this background using color picker tool, I press shift and measure, we have 0, and we don't want to have zeros. The background should always have some value to avoid clipping the data, which can be present in very dark areas. So what I will do, I will delete this layer and I will add another layer. Can be filled with foreground color, doesn't matter at the moment. This is subtract, okay, but I will turn it off for a while. I can choose quite dark color, so I use color picker to pick quite dark color from the background, and I will fill this new layer with this dark color. Well, it's actually not so dark, but maybe I will make it a little bit darker. Levels, let's make it a little bit darker, but it's important that it is not 0. I can also try to blur it a little bit. If it gives anything, no, because it's just a single color. Okay, anyway, so we have this new layer with non-zero value. It's quite dark, but it's not 0. So now, after subtracting the background model from the original image, we have a black background, but if I set the mixing mode of this new layer to addition and activate this layer, then I will achieve exactly what I want. The background is not black anymore, it's a little bit brighter. And this is exactly what I wanted to achieve. I just added this a little bit brighter background to the outcome of the subtraction of the background model from the original image. Oh, it is complicated, but I hope you are getting the idea. Okay, so now if I make new from visible, I will get a proper version of the final image. With the background which is not black, with the corrected gradient, I can check if the gradient is actually corrected. If I choose color picker again, measure this corner here, it's about 6%. And here is also about 6%. You can see that there are small differences. The red channel is a little bit darker than the green and blue. So I can increase the brightness of the red channel a little bit. Not much, but just to align these 3 peaks. So let's make blue a little bit smaller, a little bit darker. Oh, maybe like this, okay. And now if we measure the background, it's 6, 6. It's okay. Blue maybe a little bit too dark, but it's okay. I think it's enough. For the purpose of this tutorial, I think it will be enough. So the final step is to add the stars to our galaxy. And this is it. This is the final image with corrected stars, with improved saturation, increased saturation, corrected shapes, and the galaxy, the image of the galaxy with corrected gradient. Whew. Okay, guys, it took a long time. It was quite difficult for me to say all this in English after such a long break, but I hope this video will be interesting for you, and I hope it will help you in your future future endeavors. I don't know how to say it. Well, I hope it will help you in your attempts to process your astrophotos in GIMP. Thank you for your attention and see you next time.